This is the Poco M4 Pro 5G disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Next, we need to apply heat to the backplate to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we're going to use a plastic pry tool to pry the backplate off. The backplate is made of plastic. Now the camera lens cover needs to be removed. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and prying them off. At this point, there are 16 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Once the screws are removed, we need to place our plastic pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and run along the edges to pop off the catches. Before the back housing can be completely removed, the fingerprint reader cable needs to be disconnected. The back housing is also made of plastic. The NFC antenna is located on the top center, and there's an antenna flex cable next to that. There's also graphene film to help transfer heat, and the LED flash is located to the left of the NFC antenna. On the other side, there are numerous antenna flex cables around the border of the back housing. Now that we have access to the battery cable, we're going to disconnect that first. Once the battery cable is disconnected, we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There are two coaxial cables on the bottom right side of the board which need to be disconnected by popping them off. And there is some graphene film covering the connector for the front-facing camera which needs to be peeled back, so we can disconnect that and remove it. Now the main board can be lifted up and removed. On the main board, there's a 50 megapixel main camera and an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera. And the cables for the cameras can be disconnected by just popping it off. There's a secondary microphone located on top, and there's some graphene film on top of the shield to help transfer heat. The SIM card and memory card reader is located on the back of the board, as well as an infrared or IR blaster located on top. And there's copper tape on the back shields as well as some thermal paste. Once the copper tape is peeled back, there's a whole lot of thermal paste underneath on top of the processor and RAM. The flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard can be disconnected and removed. Now the speaker assembly can be removed. There is a mesh filter over the speaker opening. And here's the speaker itself. The two other ends of the coaxial cable need to be disconnected from the subboard. Now the subboard can be lifted up and removed. There are rubber gaskets around the headphone jack and the charger port, and the primary microphone is located in the center. Here's a look at the other side. To remove the battery, there are provided pull tabs to help us pry the battery off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery is removed, we can see the flex cable for the screen, which is routed through an opening over here in the mid-frame. So if you needed to replace your screen, you would have to remove the back plate, as well as the screws and the back housing, and then you disconnect the battery cable and the screen cable, remove the battery, peel off the battery adhesive tape, which would give you access to the screen cable. At that point, you would heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry your old screen off, apply new adhesive, reapply your new screen, and reassemble the phone. The X-axis linear motor or the vibrator motor is located on the bottom right of the phone. The flex cable for the volume keys and power button is located on the side, and it's just held down with some adhesive. And the earpiece speaker is located on top, which is also held down with some adhesive. For the repairability score, I give this phone an 8.5 out of 10. Now it's time to reassemble the phone. Once all the screws are back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply your backplate. Now flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. This is PBK, and thanks for watching.